Bison. Ask anyone to name a legendary animal of North America, and the bison usually comes up first. Meet one in the flesh, and you'll understand why immediately. A mature bull can tip the scales at close to 1,000 kilograms. Think small car, but with horns, a shaggy coat, and zero patience for nonsense. The signature feature is that towering hump across the shoulders. It looks strange until you learn what's inside. Solid muscle. That muscle lets the bison use its skull like a plow, shoving aside heavy snow to reach the grass buried below. When the plains freeze over and food disappears under drifts, that raw power is what keeps the animal alive. Home for the bison is the open prairie, river bottoms, and scattered woodland. Life follows a steady rhythm: graze, rest, move with the group, repeat. Steady doesn't mean gentle, though. Summer heat can be punishing, winter cold even worse, and storms can roll in with almost no warning. That shaggy coat acts like built-in insulation, letting snow pile up on its back while the animal keeps right on eating. And don't let the bulk fool you. A bison can hit speeds that leave a human standing still. Keep your distance if you're lucky enough to spot one. Come spring, orange-tinted calves arrive and stick close to their mothers almost instantly, since predators and rough weather make the herd the safest place to be. Not long ago, the species was pushed to the edge, tens of millions reduced to a mere few hundred through relentless hunting. Conservation work clawed the population back from the brink, and today the bison again roams protected ground, massive and unmistakable, a true symbol of the American wild. Gaur. If the bison rules North America, the Gaur owns Asia. Roaming the forests of India and Southeast Asia, it holds the title of largest wild cattle species alive. Bulls reach such height and bulk that they almost look computer-generated, as if evolution cranked the muscle dial too far. The biggest individuals can weigh well past a metric ton. A dark coat, pale stockings, and curling horns give the Gaur real presence, yet its temperament is surprisingly mild. These animals aren't looking for trouble. Most of the day is spent quietly working through grass, leaves, and fruit across forest floors and bamboo groves. Herds are led by seasoned females, with calves tucked safely into the middle, ringed by watchful adults, a simple setup that works remarkably well. Tigers may test the young or the weak, but a healthy adult Gaur is imposing enough to make most predators reconsider. The species now faces mounting pressure from shrinking habitat and illness spread by domestic cattle. Calm, colossal, and armored in muscle, the Gaur is Asia's forest giant. Wild yak. The Tibetan Plateau doesn't forgive mistakes. Oxygen is scarce, temperatures swing to extremes, and the terrain seems to stretch without end. Yet, the wild yak thrives there like it was built for nothing else. One look, and it seems pulled from an older, harsher era. Shaggy hair trailing almost to the ground, blocking out the worst of the wind. Underneath sits a deep chest and oversized lungs, tuned for thin mountain air. Days are spent grazing tough alpine grasses and crossing wide, empty plateaus. Females travel with their calves in herds, while mature bulls tend to wander alone. For an animal of such size, the wild yak covers rough ground with real confidence. Calm and unhurried. It's built for one of the toughest environments on the planet. Though survival is still no sure thing, blizzards can bury entire food sources, and hunting has thinned numbers in certain areas. Tough, patient, and flawlessly adapted to life at altitude, the wild yak rules the high plateau. Musk Ox. The musk ox looks like a leftover from the last ice age because, in a sense, it is. This Arctic survivor has endured for millennia in conditions that would break most large mammals. A long outer coat nearly drags the ground, while a dense undercoat, known as kivia, delivers some of the best natural insulation found anywhere. Musk oxen call the Arctic tundra home, where winter stretches on in darkness and brutal cold. They get by on grasses, mosses, and low plants dug out from beneath the snow. Their most famous trick shows up the moment wolves appear. Rather than scatter, the adults lock into a tight ring, calves shielded at the center, horns aimed outward like a wall of spears. It's a defense that's held up for thousands of years. Ancient, unified, and nearly indestructible, the musk ox is proof that sometimes the smartest move is refusing to budge. Cape buffalo. Even lions think twice around the Cape buffalo. It might look like an ordinary grazer at first, but that changes fast once you spot the horns, fused into a solid armored plate called a boss. These animals are dense, powerful, and famous for their sheer stubbornness. They roam African grasslands, wetlands, and woodland, generally keeping close to water. Large herds spend most of the day grazing and moving as one. What sets the Cape buffalo apart is loyalty. If one member comes under attack, the rest may turn back and charge in to help. That kind of group defense has turned more than one lion hunt into a disaster for the lions. Drought, disease, and predators remain constant threats, yet the species keeps thriving across much of the continent. Fearless and nearly impossible to rattle, the Cape Buffalo ranks among Africa's toughest animals. Wild water buffalo. Picture a bull that fell in love with a swamp, and you've got the wild water buffalo. Found across the wetlands of South and Southeast Asia, it's a genuine giant, with horns that can stretch over 2 meters tip to tip. For something so imposing, its favorite pastime is remarkably low-key, mud. Wallowing in marshes and ponds keeps it cool and wards off biting insects. Its diet runs to grasses and water plants, and it swims with surprising ease, even looking almost graceful despite its size. Sadly, genuine wild populations have dropped sharply as wetlands vanish and interbreeding with domestic buffalo blurs the gene pool. Massive, unhurried, and completely at ease in the mud, the wild water buffalo remains one of Asia's most striking animals. Banteng. The Banteng might be the most refined member of the wild cattle family. A sleek frame, rich-colored coat, and bright white lower legs give it an almost polished look. But underneath that elegance is a tough, adaptable survivor. Banteng inhabit forests and open woodland across Southeast Asia, feeding on grasses, shoots, and fallen fruit, often most active when temperatures drop. Females and young travel in groups, while grown males frequently go it alone. Despite looking more delicate than some of its cattle relatives, the Banteng is anything but fragile. Hunting and vanishing habitat have taken a real toll on numbers, though. Elegant, alert, and quietly tough, the Banteng proves strength doesn't need to look fearsome. Anoa. The Anoa looks like a buffalo that got put through the wash. Frequently called the dwarf buffalo, it holds the title of smallest wild cattle species on Earth, and being small is exactly what keeps it alive. Anoas exist only on the Indonesian island of Sulawesi, where thick rainforest blankets most of the terrain. Their compact frame lets them slip through dense undergrowth with ease. Unlike most cattle species, Anoas typically live alone, quietly feeding on leaves, fruit, and ferns while staying well out of sight. They're so elusive that people living nearby may go their whole lives without spotting one. Habitat loss and hunting continue to push numbers down. Small, secretive, and perfectly built for island life, the Anoa stands out as one of the strangest wild cattle on the planet. If you enjoyed meeting these incredible animals, drop a like, share it with someone who loves wildlife, and subscribe for more amazing creatures from around the world.